Welcome to Athena's Kitchen. Today, we're taking a trip to Mexico. We are going to be making chicken enchiladas with red enchilada sauce. Get ready! Before preparing any meal, you must wash your hands with soap and warm water for 20 seconds. Now it's time to trim the chicken. I'm going to get all the fat off the chicken before cooking it. You may have noticed that I moved the cutting board and cooking utensils after cutting the raw chicken. I did not want to use that for any of these veggies because that can lead to cross-contamination. The chicken has the potential to carry salmonella when it was raw. That can make us very sick. Always remember to wash your hands too. Now it's time to season the chicken. I use taco seasoning mix from the store, but you can substitute it for chili pepper, paprika, onion, salt, and garlic. Just add enough water so that it covers the chicken completely. And don't pour it on directly to the seasoning mix because it can wash the seasoning mix off the chicken. Now I'm going to bring it to the burner and put it on medium-high heat. Bring it to a boil and let it cook for 20 minutes. What I think is one of the most interesting things about cooking are the cultural backgrounds about all the foods and like where they come from and the history. So I did a quick search and I found the origin of this enchilada. So enchiladas date back to the Mayans. Corn was a staple crop at the time and corn tortillas were common. These were originally called this Mayan word, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but when the Spanish conquistadors came, they changed the name from this to tortilla. The conquistadors documented a feast in which participants served a type of enchilada. This might have been the first time that there was a record of the people eating enchiladas. Later, in the first Mexican cookbook, El Cocinero Mexicano recorded accounts of this dish. Originally, the dish was an empty corn tortilla dipped in chili sauce. Over time, people stuffed the tortillas with various meats and cheeses, and it became the enchilada we know today. Enchiladas are made in a variety of ways. You can add different meats, you can add veggies, cheese, avocados, tomatoes, you can add so many things to make these enchiladas so delicious. Chopped an onion, you know how it makes you cry. Well, cry no more. Just put on a pair of goggles and you're ready for onion chopping tear-free. I know I look kind of silly with these swim goggles on, but they make it possible for me to chop this onion without crying. Now I'm going to cut up the tomatoes. Half of them is going to go in the mixture with the enchiladas with all the chicken, and we're going to garnish half of them on top. Now it's time to shred the chicken. First, I need to make sure the chicken is cooked thoroughly. It is important to cook the chicken to have an internal temperature of 180 degrees Fahrenheit to make sure that you don't get sick like we talked about earlier. So now I'm going to cut it open and make sure there are no pink parts inside. That looks good to me. Time for another edition of Kitchen Hacks. As you can see, my cutting board can slide around pretty easily. And to prevent that while we're shredding the chicken is to get a kitchen cloth. And then we're just gonna wet it just a little. And then kind of squeeze it if it has any excess water. And then what you want to do is you want to put it under this where you're going to put the cutting board. And when you put the cutting board on top, it won't slide around. Added my olive oil and garlic into the pan. Now I'm going to add the onions. This is one whole onion chopped up. Now I'm going to saute this until the onions are tender. These have been sauteing for a while. In the time lapse, I added some green chili peppers and some cilantro. Now it's time to add the chicken. Now I'm going to add the enchilada sauce. Time to stir. Now I'm going to add tomatoes. I'm going to stir this around and let it simmer for about 5 minutes. Obviously, if you're going to have homemade enchiladas, you also need fresh homemade guacamole. This is my favorite recipe. I cut open 3 avocados and scooped out the inside. I also added the juice of 1 whole lime, salt and pepper, and the most important ingredient, fresh chopped cilantro. You can add tomatoes if you want to too. Mash it up, stir it around, and this guacamole is sure to please your guests. I have buttered the baking pan. Now it's time to roll and fill the enchiladas. Fun fact, the word enchilada comes from the Spanish word enchilar, which means to add chili pepper. I added the chicken mixture into the tortillas, and I also put some cheese in there and then rolled it up. I put it seam side down in the pan. You can add lots of things into the enchiladas like green onions, cilantro, and tomatoes. I decided to keep those things for the top though. I put some enchilada sauce on top of the enchiladas, and don't be shy with the cheese. Now it's time to throw these in the oven. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes or until the cheese melts. The cheese is melting. They're almost ready. Now it's time to garnish the enchiladas. I put some green onions and some cilantro. Enchiladas are done. They look delicious. I served these with a mountain of rice and beans on top. Buen provecho. I hope you liked my video. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe.